What's going on, everyone? OG Decay here, but better known as Decay. I don't want to make this a long intro because we do have a lot to get into explaining the hero reworks and the kits. So let's get straight into overall changes for all heroes. All damage now scales with new card stat power. Damage, armor, and health of all heroes have been adjusted. Mana cost of all abilities have been adjusted. Movement speed for all heroes has been increased. Many animations, projectiles, and other effects have been adjusted to fit with new speeds. Most attack and ability ranges have been reduced in length to account for new speeds. All slow values have been adjusted to account for new speeds. Basic attack range for all range heroes has been decreased from 1500 units to 1200 units. Starting with one of my favorite TwinBlast, he now has the growth infinity in addition to Fury. What used to previously be called Nitro is now called Rapid Fire, and it's been redesigned. It's explained as activatable ability that causes TwinBlast to shoot 3 times in a rapid succession, dealing 30, 35, 40, and 45% damage to heroes and 45% damage to non-heroes. The key has been remapped. Rapid Fire deals basic damage, can crit, and applies all normal on-hit effects. Cooldown is 7 seconds. Grenade, which was the Q or circle, redesigned, now has 3 charges. Grenades now only deal damage and have no slow component. Key has been remapped. Explosion time reduced from 1 second to 0.4 seconds. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Ammo recharge time is now 14, 12, 10 to 8 seconds. And we have Rocket Dash, which is square or E if you're on PC. Key has been remapped. Cooldown adjusted from 15, 14, 13, 12 to 18, 16, 14, 12 seconds. And his ultimate, which used to be called Barrage, which is now named Ventilate, is redesigned. TwinBlast now shoots 30 shots over 3 seconds. 30 shots over 3 seconds. Wow, guys. The key has been remapped. Range is 2600 units. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. No longer pierces or deals AoE damage. No longer slows TwinBlast while active. Cooldown is 90, 70 to 50 seconds. Next up is Countess. Doesn't seem as though she's had a lot done to her kit, but starting with Shadow Slip. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Cooldown reduced from 15 seconds to 10 seconds. Range reduced from 1100 to 850. Dark Tide. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Cooldown reduced from 17, 16, 15, 14 to 8 seconds at all levels. Blade Siphon. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Cooldown reduced from 12, 11, 10, 9 to 8 seconds at all levels. And Feast. Her ultimate, damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Cooldown reduced from 190, 80 to 170, 40 seconds. Then we move into Kalari. Starting with her Shadow Walk, basic attacks from stealth now deal 250% normal damage. Basic attacks from stealth can no longer crit. Basic attacks from stealth no longer deal bonus ability damage. That's great, not sure why it did in the first place. Basic attacks, Crippling Dagger, Backflip, and all other abilities other than Death Sentence will no longer prevent Shadow Walk from activating during the fade time. Reduce cooldown from 20, 19, 18, 17 seconds to 15 seconds at all levels. Crippling Dagger, damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Cooldown reduced from 15 to 6 seconds at all levels. Range of projectile has been increased from 2000 to 3000. Projectile speed has been increased. Slow duration decreased from 3 seconds to 1 second. Slow magnitude has been increased significantly. Backflip. Cooldown reduction from 18, 17, 16, 15 to 18, 15, 12 to 9 seconds in Death Sentence. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Cooldown reduced from 125, 115, 105 to 110 at all levels. Now deals base damage plus scaling rather than a multiplier of the LMB or R2, which is the normal way of hitting. We have Feng Mao, starting with Reaping Dash. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Cooldown reduced from 19 to 10 seconds at all levels. Animation speed has been increased. Projectile speed has been increased. Hamstring. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Animation speed has been increased. Cooldown adjusted from 17, 16, 15, 14 to 20, 18, 16, 14 seconds. Conversion Shield. Cooldown reduced from 20 seconds to 12 seconds at all levels. Shield values adjusted to 100, 25, 225, 325, 425. And we have Earth Shatter. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Animation speed has been increased. Targeting range increased from 667 to 800. That's great. I always thought that was a little short for his ultimate. Cooldown reduced from 190 to 80 to 90, 70, 50 seconds. There is no longer a shield component to his ability. Moving into Greystone, we did get a glimpse of him in the last, not the last article, but one of the previous ones. But we start off with Make Way. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Cooldown reduced from 25, 24, 23, 22 to 12 seconds at all levels. Stoic. Adjusted values to be in line with game rebalance. Assault the Gates. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Cooldown reduced from 17, 16, 15, 14 seconds to 18, 15, 12, 9 seconds. Reforge. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Redesign. Enemies damaged by Reforge are no longer knocked up and stunned. When Greystone dies, all enemies around him are slowed. This slow is more powerful the closer to the center. Reforge no longer puts Make Way and Assault the Gates on an additional 5-second cooldown. Cooldown reduced from 240, 180, 120 to 180, 130, 80 seconds. Grux. Smash and Grab. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Animation speed has been increased significantly. Reduced range from 1250 to 700. That's a bit of a nerf, but we'll see how it plays out. Width has been increased into a wedged shape instead of a cone shape. Cooldown has been reduced from 19 to 14 seconds at all levels. VFX has been adjusted. Charge. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Animation speed has been increased. Cooldown has been reduced from 16 seconds to 12 seconds at all levels. Double Pain. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Cooldown has been reduced from 10 to 15 seconds at all levels. Warlord's Challenge. Animation speed has been increased. Cooldown has been reduced from 100, 90, 80 to 90, 70, 50 seconds. We're pretty much halfway through, guys, and we're going to move on to Kwang. Judgment of the Heavens. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Projectile speed has been increased. Cooldown has been reduced from 19 to 21, 18, 15 to 12 seconds. Gift of the Heavens. Adjusted values to be in line with game rebalance. Light of the Heavens. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Cooldown has been adjusted from 14 to 18, 16, 14, and 12 seconds. Fury of the Heavens. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Cooldown has been reduced from 100, 90, 80 to 85, 70, 55 seconds. Chimera. Unleash. Cooldown has been reduced from 15 to 10 seconds at all levels. Damage reduction now affects total LMB/R2, not just card scaling. Spirit Regeneration. Reduce max stacks to 25. Health regen adjusted to 1, 1.75, 2.5, 3.25 per stack. Stack duration reduced from 5 to 2.2 seconds. Ambush and Call also apply a stack when they land. Attacking structures no longer apply stacks. That's also great. Not sure why they applied stacks to begin with if you were just attacking structures and not enemy heroes. Ambush. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Cooldown has been reduced from 17, 16, 15, 14 seconds to 5 seconds at all levels. No longer applies to mini stun. Targets will now be massively slowed when hit by ambush. Not just slowed, but massively slowed, guys. Call. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Animation speed has been increased. During call, affected enemy target is stunned. Cooldown has been reduced from 100, 90, 80 to 90, 70, lastly 50 seconds. Gadget. Sticky Mine. Cooldown reduced from 15 to 8 seconds at all levels. Damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Animation speed has been increased. Projectile speed has been increased. Explosion time reduced from 4 to 2 seconds. Speed Gate. Damage type adjusted from energy to ability damage. Cooldown adjusted from 20 to 22, 19, 16, and lastly 13 seconds. Speed bonus has been rebalanced. Seek and Destroy. Damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Cooldown adjusted from 18, 17, 16, 15 seconds to 10 seconds at all levels. Tesla Dome. Damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Tick rate adjusted from 1.1 to 0.73 per second. Still deals 5 ticks of damage. Activation time reduced from 1 to 0.66 seconds. Total time of ultimate reduced from 6.5 to 4.3 seconds. Cooldown adjusted from 100, 90, 80 to 110, 90, and lastly 70 seconds. Gideon, Cosmic Rift. Animation speed has been increased. Projectile speed has been increased. Damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Cooldown adjusted from 13 to 8 seconds at all levels. Torn Space, animation speed has been increased. Cooldown adjusted from 15 to 12 seconds at all levels. Burden, damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Projectile speed has been increased. Cooldown adjusted from 20 to 10 seconds at all levels. Black Hole, damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Animation speed has been increased. Ability deals damage over 3.5 seconds, down from 5 seconds. Overall damage has not been reduced. Relative damage of the ability has not been modified. Cooldown adjusted from 100, 90, 80 to 110, 90, and lastly 70 seconds. This one, I just really wish that they would give Gideon some type of what's the word I'm looking for? Protection. There we go. So when he casts his ult, at least it doesn't even have to be long, even if it was 0.5 seconds, that he wouldn't be able to be interrupted while mid animation. Right now, he's pretty much the only character whose ult can be interrupted by, let's say, more than half of the heroes in the game. But I guess that's something they'll get into at a later date. Moving on to Howitzer. R2000 missile, damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Projectile speed has been increased. Cooldown adjusted from 12, 11.5, 11 to 10.5 to 8 seconds at all levels. Landmine, damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Projectile speed has been increased. Cooldown adjusted from 17, 16, 15, 14 to 22, 19, 16, and lastly 13 seconds. Slow grenade, damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Projectile speed has been increased. Cooldown reduced from 20 to 12 seconds at all levels. Make it rain, damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Animation speed has been increased. Projectile speed has been increased. Can no longer be cancelled by Howitzer. Cooldown reduced from 115, 105, 95 to 90, 75, 70, and lastly 50 seconds. Iggy and Scorch. Seems as though there are no real changes to his kit except for cooldown reduction. So starting with Flame Turret, damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Oil Spill, damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Cooldown reduced from 17, 16, 15, 14 seconds to 8 seconds. Oil Slick, damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Cooldown decreased from 24, 23, 22, 21 to 18, 16, 14, and lastly 12 seconds. Flame Belch, damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Cooldown reduced from 100, 90, 80 to 90, 75, and lastly 60 seconds. So we have Lieutenant Bellica, whose kit is looking a little lengthy here. Light has changed it to her, but let's get into it. Seismic Assault, damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Range has been reduced from 2000 to 1600. Animation speed has been increased. Projectile speed has been increased. Cooldown reduced from 18, 17, 16, 15 to 15 seconds at all levels. Stun duration reduced from 1, 1.4, 1.8, 2.2 to 0.7, 1.1, 1.5, and lastly 1.9 seconds. Void Drone, damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Mana drain increased from 2 to 10, 18, 26, and lastly 34. Cooldown reduced from 60, 59, 58, 57 to 40 seconds at all levels. Void Bomb, damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Range has been reduced from 1500 to 900. Radius has been reduced from 750 to 625. Explosion delay has been reduced from 2.25 to 1 second. That's good. That's really good. Cooldown has been reduced from 15, 14, 13, 12 to 6 seconds at all levels. Guys, watch how many people you're going to be able to catch out of position because they won't have any mana left after pretty much spamming the Void Bomb on minion waves. If she wasn't already mana hungry, I would say this is the perfect thing for her. But Narbash, first ability, March. Cooldown adjusted from 21, 19, 17, and 15 seconds to 24, 20, 16, and lastly 12 seconds. Song of My People, new regen values set at 10, 20, 30, and lastly 40. Thunk, damage type adjusted from physical to ability, cooldown adjusted from 18, 17, 16, 15 to 12 seconds at all levels. Crash Bang Boom, damage type adjusted from physical to ability, cooldown reduced from 100, 90, 80 to 185 and lastly 70 seconds. Rampage, Boulder Throw, damage type adjusted from physical to ability, animation speed has been increased, projectile speed has been increased, cooldown reduction from 18, 17, 16, 15 to 14 seconds at all levels. King of the Jungle, health regen reduced to 0.5, 1, 1.5, and lastly 2, from 2 and a quarter, 4.5, 6 and 3/4, and lastly 9 seconds. In the jungle, health regen adjusted to 3, 6, 9, 12 from 4.2 per second. Pounce, damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Animation speed has been increased, cooldown reduced from 20 to 10 seconds at all levels. Enrage, you can now move while transforming, cooldown reduced from 100, 85, 70 to 80, 60, and lastly 40 seconds. Richter, Whiplash, damage type adjusted from energy to ability, cooldown reduced from 21, 20, 19, 18 to 14 seconds at all levels. Electrocute, damage type adjusted from energy to ability, cooldown reduced from 17, 16, 15, 14 to 12 seconds at all levels. Shock Therapy, damage type adjusted from energy to ability, cooldown reduction or reduced from 24, 23, 22, 21 to 21, 18, 15, and lastly 12 seconds. Skewer, damage type adjusted from energy to ability, cooldown adjusted from 190, 80 to 105, 90, and lastly 75 seconds. Severog, Siphon, damage type adjusted from physical to ability, animation speed has been increased, cooldown reduced from 10 to 8.8, 7.6, 6.4 to 5 seconds at all levels. Soul Stack, soul stacks are now generated whenever Severog kills a hero or a minion with any of his abilities. Soul stack growth points adjusted to 20, 50, 90, 140 from 20, 40, 60, and 80. Soul stacks now grant both damage and health. Soul stack growth points give a bonus to damage and health. Hero kills grant 3 stacks. Non-hero kills grant 1 stack. Subjugate, damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Animation speed has been increased. Enemy minions and hero killed by Subjugate now generate soul stacks. Cooldown reduced from 17, 16, 15, 14 to 17, 15, 13, and lastly 11 seconds. Phantom Rush, adjusted ramp up to be more fluid. Reduced cooldown from 27, 25.5, 24, 22.5 to 16, 14, 12, and lastly 10 seconds. Colossal Blow, damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Animation speed has been increased. No longer instantly kills minions, deals full damage. Enemy minions and heroes killed by Colossal Blow now generates soul stacks. Cooldown reduced from 70, 60, 50 to 30 seconds at all levels. Then we have Steel, first ability Bull Rush. Previously was Charge. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Animation speed has been increased. Range reduced from 2000 to 1600. Cooldown reduced from 15 to 12 at all levels. Force Shield. Projectile speed has been increased. Cooldown reduced from 23.8, 22.8, 21.8, and lastly 20.8 to 24, 20, 16, and lastly 12 seconds. Bulwark. Redesign now blocks 60, 70, 80, 90% of all non-area of effect damage that passes through the shield. Now lasts 3 seconds at all levels. While deployed, Steel cannot turn, but can move normally otherwise. Attacking or reactivating will allow normal movement again. Cooldown reduced from 18, 17, 16, 15 to 12 seconds at all levels. Shield Slam. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Animation speed has been increased. Cooldown reduced from 100, 90, 80 to 110, 90, and lastly 70 seconds. Decker. Stasis Bomb. Damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Projectile speed has been increased. Cooldown reduced from 19, 18.5, 18, 17.5 to 20, 18, 16, and lastly 14 seconds. Stun duration decreased from 1, 1.4, 1.8, 2.2 to 0.7, 1.1, 1.5, and lastly 1.9 seconds. Slow bubble. Damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Cooldown adjusted from 17, 16, 15, 14 to 20, 18, 16, 14 seconds. Projectile speed has been increased. Rocket boots. Cooldown adjusted from 15, 14, 13, 12 to 24, 20, 16, and lastly 12 seconds. Containment fence. Range reduced from 1200 to 1000. Duration reduced from 5, 6, 7 seconds to 3, 4, and lastly 5 seconds. Next up is Muriel, and starting with Serenity. Damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Projectile speed has been increased, no longer pierces through minions. Cooldown reduced from 15 to 9 seconds at all levels. Consecrated Ground. Damage type adjusted from energy to ability. No longer deals damage to slowed targets. Cooldown reduced from 16, 15, 14, 13 to 12 seconds at all levels. Shield values have been adjusted for new balance. Explosion time reduced from 1.5 to 1.05 seconds. Alacrity. Cooldown reduced from 15 to 10 seconds at all levels. Shield values have been adjusted for new balance. Reversal of Fortune. Shield values have been adjusted for new balance. The Fae. Bramble Patch. Damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Casting Bramble Patch now prevents movement. Cooldown reduced from 18 to 18, 16, 14, and lastly 12 seconds. Harvest Nettles. Damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Projectile speed has been increased. No longer refunds mana on hitting a hero. Cooldown reduced from 12 to 6 seconds at all levels. Untamed Growth. Damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Projectile speed has been increased. Ability duration decreased from 3 to 2 seconds. Cooldown reduced from 17, 16, 15, 14 to 10 seconds at all levels. Flytrap. Damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Projectile has been increased. Casting Flytrap now prevents movement. Cooldown reduced from 190, 80 to 120, 100, and lastly 80 seconds. Rem EXE. Displacement Blast. Damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Projectile speed has been increased. Cooldown adjusted from 18, 17.5, 17, 16.5 to 21, 17, 13, and lastly 9 seconds. Suppression Mode. Slow adjusted to new balance values. Deflector Shield now refunds 25, 40, 55, and lastly 70% of missing mana from a flat 90, 103, 160, and lastly 130. Cooldown adjusted from 20, 19.5, 19, 18.5 to 22, 18, 14, lastly 10 seconds. GTFO. Damage type adjusted from energy to ability. No longer able to move while targeting. Good job, Epic. Good job. Cooldown adjusted from 100, 90, 80 to 110, 90, and lastly 70 seconds. My second in command, Mr. Murdoch, starting with Buckshot. Damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Cooldown reduced from 14.4, 13.4, 12.4, 11.4 to 8 seconds at all levels. Now shreds basic armor 5, 7.5, 10, and lastly 12.5. Static Trap. Damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Traps now root targets in place for 2 seconds. Now requires 3.25 seconds to arm. Now lasts for 90 seconds before expiring. Concurrent Trap limit reduced from 4 to 1, 1, 2, and lastly 3. Size of trap has been increased from 160 to 230. Traps can no longer be stacked on top of one another. Traps underneath new traps will be destroyed. Move Along. Damage type adjusted from energy to ability. No longer damages minions. Cooldown adjusted from 20, 19, 18, 17 to 21, 18, 15, and 12 seconds. Long Arm of the Law. Damage type adjusted from energy to ability. Animation speed has been increased. Cooldown adjusted from 100, 90, 80 to 90, 80, and lastly 70 seconds. 2 more heroes to go and then we're done with this video, guys. Next up is Sparrow. And we're going to start with her ability, Hail of Arrows. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Animation speed has been increased. Cooldown adjusted from 12, 11, 10, 9 to 12 seconds at all levels. Next up is Relentless. Damage type adjusted from ability to physical. Stack limit reduced from 10 to 5. Each stack now adds a percentage of Sparrow's basic attack damage. 2%, 3.5%, 5%, and 6.5%. Piercing Shot. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Projectile speed has been increased. Cooldown has been reduced from 10 to 8 seconds at all levels. Inner Fire. Cooldown has been reduced from 100, 90, 80 to 90, 70, and lastly 50 seconds. And then last but not least, we have Crunch. Left Crunch, damage type adjusted from physical to ability, cooldown reduced from 15, 13.5, 12, 10.5 to 6 seconds at all levels. Right Crunch, damage type adjusted from physical to ability, cooldown reduced from 17, 16, 14, 15 to 10 seconds at all levels. Forward Crunch, dash speed increased from 0.7 to 0.5 seconds, increased range from 1000 to 1250, and 1250 to 1500 for empowered. Damage type adjusted from physical to ability, cooldown reduced from 20, 18.5, 17, 15.5 to 12 seconds at all levels. Recrunch, damage type adjusted from physical to ability, cooldown reduced from 40, 30, 20 to 20, 15, and lastly 10 seconds. So that's pretty much it, guys. I know this was information overload, but just to recap, we have a lot of great reworks to the heroes to accommodate to the new map Monolith that's being released on December 6th. Starting with TwinBlast, who was my favorite from when I first started playing Paragon. What was it? Rapid succession, 3 shots, a rapid succession of 3 shots, and then his ult, which is now Ventilate, where he shoots 30 shots over 3 seconds. That's just going to be ridiculous. That's going to have to be, I'm not sure. Like, it just sounds crazy. I can't wait to see the way they designed that. Looking at a few other heroes, Murdoch, yes, his ult wasn't changed, but his static trap, that's pretty great because as of right now, those are worthless. You know, once you kill Murdoch or he becomes behind, that pretty much becomes irrelevant. The tank usually runs right through it with no problem at all. So, you know, it's great that that move is useful now. There are a lot of things, but guys, I want to know what you think. Let me know down in the comments who or what your favorite update to were. And as always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll check you guys on the next one, which will be released soon.